This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Now at 11, for the first time, at least the third time in less than 2 months, a stray bullet struck a child in Indianapolis. Good evening to you at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. In the latest case, police say the victim is a baby. He is expected to survive. Officers were called to an apartment complex near 38th Street and Post Road around 6:45 this evening. They found the 10-month-old boy with a grazed wound to the knee. Investigators believe a bullet fired from the parking lot went through 2 walls and struck the baby inside of an apartment.
It's very frustrating for us. We're out here all the time and we're trying to, make sure that nobody gets struck, and then at totally random, because somebody's out there shooting for no good reason, hitting people's houses. A lot more people could have been hurt. We're just very happy that that baby only got grazed in the leg.
The infant was rushed to Riley Hospital for Children. There are no reports of any arrests at this hour. In the other recent cases, 2 young people were killed by stray bullets in separate shootings. Police say 16-year-old Nia Cope was riding in a car with her family near 38th and Arlington when she was shot on May 3rd. And detectives say 8-year-old Roderick Payne Jr. was eating dinner in his home on North Tacoma Avenue when he was struck and killed on March 31st. If you have information about any of these investigations, you can report tips anonymously by calling 317-262-TIPS.
1 week from tonight, we'll be sharing with you the results of Indiana's rescheduled primary election. The coronavirus pandemic pushed the state to move the election back a month, and now it's changing up procedures. RTV6's Cameron Riddle shows you why a Marion County election official is concerned about these changes slowing down operations.
1 week from Election Day, and many Marion County voters have yet to receive their mail-in ballots, leaving voters to wonder if their ballot will arrive in the hands of election officials in time. With the cutoff date approaching, Marion County Clerk Mila Eldridge is now asking voters not to send completed ballots back via mail.
If a voter receives their ballot in the mail this week, I would not recommend that they put their ballot in the mail just because we may not get it in time.
In an interview with me on WTLC, Eldridge sent the first warning that voters should now return those mail-in ballots in person at one of the county's 22 election centers by noon on Election Day.
That's the best advice that I've heard, and that's the best advice that I could give.
Russell Hollis, deputy director at the Marion County Clerk's Office, says this primary is breaking records for absentee voting.
The most absentee votes that we received in an election, a general election actually, has been about 80,000, and that included in-person early voting, not just voting by mail. And this election cycle, we received over 120,000 applications to vote by mail.
Hollis says the desire from voters to cast their ballots from the safe social distance of their mailbox, combined with coronavirus restrictions limiting the number of election staffers, has overwhelmed the county's election office.
We were limited to only having 10 people process the absentee applications. And so that really put a hamper on how much we could process.
Hollis says voters waiting on mail-in ballots can still vote in person, either early or on Election Day. Election workers will then make sure the voter is not double voting if their mail-in ballot arrives. In Indianapolis, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Well, keep in mind here, the U.S. Postal Service recommends sending back your mail-in ballot 1 week before it's due. If you receive your ballot in the mail this week, you can fill it out and drop it off in person at any election center. If you asked for a mail-in ballot but would rather vote in person, bring your ballot with you so it can be destroyed if it has already arrived.
In-person early voting continues until Election Day. It started today, and we are getting a look at what's being done to help keep staff and voters safe. This is Beech Grove High School, one of 3 early voting sites in Marion County. Poll workers are wearing face shields and voting stations are spread apart, and voters will be given a covering for their fingers so they don't have to touch the screen when casting ballots. And one of the highest profile races of the Indiana primary is the 5th District congressional seat. The district represents parts of Marion, Hamilton, Madison and Blackford counties. 5 Democrats and 15 Republicans are running to replace Congresswoman Susan Brooks, who is not seeking re-election. We asked all of the candidates where they stand on the issues, and some responded. You can find that info on our website at theindychannel.com.
Now to the latest on the toll the COVID-19 pandemic is taking on Hoosier lives. 1,850 deaths are now blamed on the virus. According to the State Department of Health, 18 of the reported deaths happened between Friday and yesterday. More than 230,000 people have been tested for the virus. Just under 14% have tested positive. When it comes to the healthcare system, nearly 41% of beds are available in intensive care units. Just over 82% of ventilators are available in the state. Since the pandemic began, we've been bringing you stories of survival, sharing the moments patients hospitalized for COVID-19 get to finally head home. But the battle for many of those patients does not end when they leave the hospital. RTV6's Cornelius Hawker shows you what a doctor and a survivor say about the mental toll of fighting off serious COVID-19 cases.
Dr. Barbara Kahn runs the Critical Care Recovery Center at Eskenazi Health Services. The center helps ICU survivors suffering physical and mental issues.
Now the patients are in isolation. Family is not allowed to visit. They cannot see their loved ones.
He says the scenario faced by COVID-19 survivors sets them up for potential problems once they leave the hospital setting.
Because of being exposed to extreme stress, they can develop symptoms of anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorders.
The issues people face after battling a critical illness like COVID-19 is called post-intensive care syndrome. Demarie Williams, who was in the hospital for COVID-19, has some of the symptoms Dr. Kahn mentioned.
I now have anxiety attacks, and now they're looking into it as PTSD. There's some nightmares going on. There's some other mental stuff that goes on.
Williams's fight with the virus began toward the end of March. Things got so bad at one point, the doctor told him to start getting his affairs in order.
Right after he told me, we planned my funeral right after that. When I first got out, I still had hallucinations for about 5 days. I fight on a daily basis, but for the most part, it's being controlled. I'm not on medication or anything like that. Just have to work through it each day.
His doctor is working with him on a treatment plan so he can get back to cutting hair once barbershops are allowed to reopen.
Holding clippers will be different at first, and I'll get back into it because that's what I do, but it's just the confidence of just doing it and making sure it's still at a high level.
Dr. Kahn hopes doctors treating patients who've recovered from COVID-19 will start asking questions and working on treatment plans that will help them regain a sense of normalcy.
Acknowledging it and connecting with them and tell them that, okay, I may not have gone through this, but I can understand somewhat that you're going through, and we have the resources and we can pull it together.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
And the number of Hoosiers who have died from COVID-19 in nursing homes has more than doubled in the past 3 weeks. 876 people have died in long-term facilities from the virus. That is 47% of all COVID-19 deaths in Indiana. 13 new facilities have reported at least one death, according to data released this week from the State Department of Health. And 32 people have died at Greenwood Meadows. That's among the highest death tolls in central Indiana. Gloria Benefield's mother, Violet, developed COVID-19 while at the facility. Violet is now negative, but she's still not feeling well. Gloria now plans to move her mother in, removing her from Greenwood Meadows. The facility is operated by American Senior Communities, the state's largest nursing home provider. It started posting numbers this month on each facility's website about cases and deaths.
It's not right, not just for my mother. It's not right for any of those patients to have died. I don't care. They could have done something.
American Senior Communities and its partner Health and Hospital Corporation say deaths are higher in their facilities for several reasons. They say they're testing more residents than other operators, which means more deaths are identified as COVID-19 related. They operate a large number of nursing homes in urban areas where the virus is most concentrated. And they care for a large number of Alzheimer's and dementia residents who are difficult to keep separate and are vulnerable to COVID-19.
Tomorrow morning, we'll learn the next steps and the plans to reopen Marion County. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogshead and the county health director will discuss COVID-19 restrictions and guidelines at 10:30. Right now in Marion County, restaurant dining is only allowed outside. Retailers are allowed to be open at 50% capacity. Public gatherings must be limited to 25 people. Officials have said indoor dining and personal service businesses like salons could resume on June 1st. You'll want to look for live coverage of tomorrow's update on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com.
Now to the forecast. Storms are back in our forecast, and Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory joins us now, helping you prepare for the day ahead. A little bit different of a look than we had this afternoon, Kevin.
And the timing's a little different for tomorrow's rain as well, Amanda. Next 24 hours, humidity's going nowhere. Temperatures will not be quite as warm. That's one change from the last 24 hours. Temperatures today hit 90 in Muncie and Fort Wayne, 86 in the metro area. We'll dial it back a little bit during the day tomorrow. We're dry in central Indiana now. Watch what happens overnight into the morning hours. Look to the southeast along Interstate 74 from Cincinnati, then coming back toward Indianapolis. That is some morning rain. We've waited until the afternoon hours the last few days for any rain to develop. May start a little earlier during the day tomorrow. We'll talk about the pattern change and what it means for your weekend coming up.
Still ahead as we head into summer, a fairly new ice cream shop in Fountain Square is hoping to attract more customers. We'll show you what's on the menu and how the business is serving up scoops while social distancing.
And next, a growing debate over safety guidelines between President Trump and the Democratic candidate he'll likely face in the November election.
Quote and save up to 20% on auto and home.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
As the U.S. continues to slowly reopen amid the COVID-19 pandemic, a major sports league is announcing how it will complete the season. And President Trump and his presumptive Democratic rival in November have differing opinions on wearing masks. ABC's Romina Puga has the latest on the impact of the coronavirus around the nation.
As states continue to open up and Americans become increasingly eager to get outside, the U.S. death toll from COVID-19 is closing in on 100,000. Troubling images over the weekend prompting the question, how close is too close?
It seems like the younger generation doesn't have any fear here.
After back-to-back pool parties at Missouri's Lake of the Ozarks, health officials are urging all participants to self-quarantine for 14 days.
Social distancing is absolutely critical. And if you can't social distance and you're outside, you must wear a mask.
Those guidelines sparked a debate between President Trump and Joe Biden. The president criticized Biden for wearing a mask outside.
He was standing outside with his wife, perfect conditions, perfect weather.
Biden on CNN fired right back.
He's a fool, an absolute fool to talk that way. I mean, every leading doc in the world is saying we should wear a mask when you're in a crowd.
The president, who has been pushing to reopen, now threatens to move the Republican National Convention from Charlotte if North Carolina's governor won't allow a packed arena in August. On Tuesday, Governor Roy Cooper responded.
I will say that it's okay for political conventions to be political, but pandemic response cannot be.
And RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel says they're looking for ways to keep people safe.
So it's temperature checks, things like testing. We're looking at everything to make sure that we keep the attendees safe, as well as the people of Charlotte.
But this week, more signs of progress in the sports world. The National Hockey League announces its plans for the playoffs. Games will be closed off to everyone except the teams and a small support staff.
We will not do anything until we are assured that it is safe and prudent to do so.
And the Brooklyn Nets become the first New York team to reopen its training facility 10 weeks after several players tested positive. The New York Stock Exchange also opened its trading floor this week at 25% capacity and with temperature checks. Governor Cuomo rang the opening bell. In Colorado, Romina Puga, ABC News.
The Rebound Indiana is showing you how groups and the government are stepping up to help Hoosiers in need as the economic fallout of the pandemic continues. Indiana National Guard members are helping get food to families. Governor Eric Holcomb deployed them to assist community food providers as part of the state's coronavirus response. The CEO of Second Helping says their resources are stretched thin. The Guard is helping the nonprofit meet the unprecedented demand. While it's an unusual deployment, soldiers say it is rewarding.
On Monday, I was doing dishes, so it's like different every day for us. I feel great. Helping others. I would never thought I would be doing this, honestly, even in the Guard.
We had a problem with food insecurity before this happened. The numbers we're seeing are unlike anything any of us have ever seen.
Second Helpings is also getting help from the corporate world. Kroger recently donated $200,000 to the organization. If you need food assistance, you can call 211 anytime. The free service connects Hoosiers to resources. Community Compass is another option. The app finds free meal locations, free groceries, and food-related events near you. Or you can text the word HI to 317-434-3758 for assistance.
Communities across central Indiana are working together to celebrate students as this unusual school year comes to an end. The Carmel Fire and Police Departments helped Long Ridge Estates honor their neighborhood graduates. A parade through the community near Shelburne and 141st Street recognized students of all ages and grades from preschool to college. Organizers say they wanted to do something memorable, especially for those who are missing out on those traditional ceremonies and rites of passage due to the pandemic.
I just think it's important that these kids have something to remember this event in their life, that this is so different, as we all know, and it's anticlimactic for us who have gone through graduation. We know what it feels like to graduate, and this is just very disheartening that these kids didn't get to have a graduation.
That was really nice of them and nice of the neighborhood to think about like everything, and they were really nice to do that and to come out and take their time.
I thought it was very great that the fire department and the police department were able to do that. I don't live at home, but I came back because my mom said she put her name in for me. So I came back to enjoy that with my sister. And it's just kind of nice that even though there's so much going on, they're still able to make time to kind of cheer up the community and kind of present a positive message.
And it was a good day to be outside this afternoon, Kevin, but we are going to be seeing some changes in the forecast, and thankfully that this was not planned for tomorrow.
Yes, I think that we'll have more widespread rain tomorrow, but as we've seen here for the last 4 days, rain may be in the forecast each day. It doesn't mean you have rain at your house each day, but the odds are growing that you will in the next couple of days. Chance of rain arrives earlier tomorrow. I showed that to you off the top of the newscast. Thursday and Friday, the most likely times for rain, but that leads to the much different feel for the weekend. Much of the eastern half of the country, certainly the Great Lakes and the Midwest, will see temperatures cool down. The humidity levels drop as well, and below average temperatures are expected with sunshine. Those are the high temperatures expected. These are the low temperatures, as cool as 51 on Monday. And early next week, temperatures will still be below average. So a nice stretch, I'd say a 4 or 5 day stretch of dry weather and comfortable temperatures. The weekend humidity at the bottom of the scale instead of spending time in the uncomfortable zone that we've been in. Again, the chance of showers is there from the start tomorrow. Actually diminishes again in the early afternoon hours. I'll show 7 a.m. There are some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, Indy to Richmond up to Muncie. That moves to the north and west and may begin to thin out. That's our morning round of showers and thunderstorms. We'd have some isolated activity in the afternoon. 75 at noon. Afternoon high temperature tomorrow moves into the low 80s with that continuing chance for isolated showers and thunderstorms. There are the temperatures 80 or above most areas, but then as we go into Thursday, because I think we'll see more frequent rainfall with greater coverage and more cloud cover, temperatures will be cooler. They'll stay in the 70s Thursday. That begins a stretch of days where highs will be in the 70s. Anytime it rains in the next next 48 hours. The chance for heavier downpours because the humidity is still high. There's your Thursday temperatures falling back into the 70s. Friday will be a little cooler than that. Rain likely first half of the day Friday, then the cold front, which is responsible for the drop in temperatures, and the much lower humidity moves through, and that sets up Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all dry with lots of sunshine, and we don't get back to 80 degrees until we get to early next week. Enjoy the cool down.
I'm Dave First. It's called the RTV6 Senior Salute, our goal of honoring the outgoing spring sport athletes. We head to LaPel High School, meet Cannon Bledsoe. So looking forward to his final season with the Bulldogs, a 4.0 student. His uncle Michael says Cannon never wanted a girlfriend because it took away from baseball. Well, that changed this year, only to lose out on prom as well. It's like so many, we wish Cannon well after graduation and to better days ahead. I'm Dave First with another RTV6 Senior Salute.
Even have to leave your house.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Welcome back. The warm weather is good news for businesses like the Square Scoop in Fountain Square. The shop serves up creative ice cream flavors in combination, but that's not all. Our Brad Brown shows nostalgic treats are also on the menu.
You can find just about anything you're hungry for in the Fountain Square neighborhood. But if it's time for ice cream, it's time to get into the Square Scoop.
It's been different, that's for sure. I mean, once the weather improved, we've had a pretty good crowd. And it certainly hasn't been to the level that it was during the warm weather last year yet. But I think hopefully we're getting there.
The Scoop took over this space last fall. Along with their full selection of ice cream treats, they offer a wide range of old-time candy and sodas.
We've got candy from basically every decade, you know, things that I remember from when I was a kid, you know, things that kids now recognize too.
The Square Scoop's case already includes some unique flavors, but you can also take any of their dozens of soda selections and make a float of your own.
Well, we had somebody do cookies and cream and lemonade, which I thought was very odd. They seem to enjoy it, so that's all good. I think one thing that people really appreciate down here is we offer several vegan options. So instead of just being able to get a sorbet or something like that, those that are lactose intolerant or vegan are able to choose from a few different flavors. So that's always been popular.
The updated social distancing rules mean this little shop can only go one at a time. But customers continue to wait their turn and smiles abound.
I think all in all, people are pretty respectful and they understand that. So it's been good. And, you know, it hasn't really changed our menu that much because most of the items at an ice cream shop are grab and go anyway, really. Early on, there were probably a few weeks where we felt like we were the only place open around. You know, there wasn't much going on. Starting to see a little more activity. Certainly with the cultural trail running right down Virginia Avenue, it really helps with foot traffic on nice days like today.
Square Scoop is offering a take-home float kit. You get a 4-pack of soda and a pint of ice cream, perhaps something like a vanilla cream soda and a pint of coffee toffee. Get creative with your combo. They're located right off the Fountain Square station of the Red Line in case you're riding the bus over. Their hours are Tuesday through Sunday, 2 till 8 p.m., carry out only, and you can visit the Square Scoop website for more information on their menu and their daily flavor options. Working for you, Brad Brown, RTV6.
4 months on the Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
One difference for tomorrow, the chance for thunderstorms is with us first thing in the morning. As we get to the afternoon hours, temperatures struggle to hit 80 with an isolated thunderstorm. Still humid. Amanda, that's the day ahead.
All right. Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30 a.m. Good night.